Well, Giannis Antetokounmpo has been favored most of the season to win back-to-back MVPs. LeBron has made his case for the award. The King said, quote, "As far as the MVP race, I showed what I'm capable of doing, not only individually, but from a team perspective, us being number one in the West." LeBron also said that he silenced a lot of critics who had questioned how he would perform if he ever left the Eastern Conference for the Western Conference. Chris Broussard still with us. So, Chris, does LeBron have a point about East versus West?
Well, first, guys, I turned in my MVP or my awards ballot for all the regular season awards yesterday, and I did have Giannis as my MVP, and I think he's going to win going away. I had LeBron second. Look, LeBron has been tremendous. There's no question about it, but you don't grade the MVP on a curve. So him being in his 17th year doesn't matter, okay? I'm not looking at years in the league. I think Giannis was just the MVP. As far as the East-West stuff, this is revisionist history, okay? When people talked about LeBron being in the easier Eastern Conference, it had nothing to do with MVP. In fact, he won his 4 MVPs while playing in the East. He won 4 MVPs in 5 years while playing in the East. So nobody mentioned he can't be the MVP because he's in the East. The criticism of being in the East was about reaching the finals. Would LeBron have been able to reach the finals 8 straight years had he been in the West? Obviously, the answer is no, because he didn't win all those championships and beat the Western team. So that was where the criticism was. It had absolutely nothing to do with the MVP voting. The reason LeBron never won MVP his second go-round in Cleveland in those last 4 years, because they coasted through the regular season. They were clearly the best team in the conference every single year, and they never won 60 games. They won 57 games once. They were only the number 1 seed one time during those 4 years LeBron was with Cleveland his second go-round. We know, we saw the drama. There were trades. There was, all types of stuff going on. And LeBron was coasting, playing well, but coasting. And then they turned it on in the playoffs and ran through everybody in the East. So that's why he didn't win the MVP, because nobody's going to give you the MVP award when you kind of coast through the regular season. And so this is revisionist history. Had absolutely nothing to do with MVP awards, the East discussion.
Well, but they did say, it's been said, well, how did they get dubbed the Eastern Conference? Where did that term come from? I just want to know, yes or no, that's a simple yes or no. Have you ever heard it called the Eastern Conference, yes or no?
Wait, I said it. I invented it.
I'm talking to Chris.
Yes, you've heard it.
I'm talking to Chris Broussard.
Yes.
Chris Broussard, have you ever heard that term before?
Yes, but Shannon, will you admit, it was never in reference to the MVP race. It was always about reaching the finals.
Yes.
You have to admit that, right?
They said that had any of the great players, be it Kobe, be it Shaq, or any of the great players, Kevin Durant, had they been in the Eastern Conference at that time, they would have gone to 8 straight finals. Although I disagree with that. That's what they were saying. Because you do remember, like when LeBron went to his last finals, the team that he beat, they called them the baby Celtics. That was the team that beat the brakes off of Giannis. Do we forget that? That happened. Now, did that happen, Chris Broussard? Did that happen? Was that the team, the baby Celtics?
Giannis was a pup.
Oh, now he a pup. Boy, you done been around Chris Broussard. You done been around Skip Bayless so long.
I keeps it real. You know that shit. I keeps it real.
That was the exact same thing that Skip Bayless said about the Thunder. He called them the baby Thunder.
They were.
To diminish what Goat James had done to him. And you just called them the pup Celtic to now to try to hype Giannis, but diminish LeBron. You know what, Chris Broussard, I'm done with you. I believe LeBron should be I agree, though. I believe LeBron should be the MVP. But you're voting, you're probably right. You have the pulse of this. I do believe Giannis is going to be the MVP, though. But I think LeBron should win it.
All I would like to say is I am not going to let LeBron James get away with gloating about how I'm now dominating the West.
Dominating.
As opposed to what they used to say I couldn't do in the East or in the West what I was doing for those years in the East. Baloney, LeBron. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. What happened in LeBron's first year in the West? He played 55 games and he went 28 and 27 because he didn't have a co-star who is also an MVP candidate. Anthony Davis has had an extraordinary year alongside an extraordinary bounce-back year for LeBron. But the first year in L.A., LeBron missed the playoffs and was known more for his blooper reel. And no, I'm not going to call for it right now because we don't have time to go through all the comedy that ensued when LeBron just lost interest in playing with the baby Lakers a year ago.
Yeah, what about the baby Lakers, Chris?
Yeah, okay, so now what happened? We fast forward to this year. What happened to Golden State? The dynasty became the worst team in all of basketball. What happened to my Spurs this year? They are now ancient history as it pertains to Duncan and Ginobili and Parker. Those days are long gone. What happened to the Clippers this year? As I just pointed out in the previous segment, only 11 times did they have their full roster together, so they were no real threat to the Lakers in the Western Conference. All of a sudden, we see the East rivaling the West this year because Portland had the injuries to Nurkic and Zach Collins. And Utah, again, they just underachieved. They never took off. Denver never took off the way they did a year ago. And I look down the list and I say, well, there were the baby Pelicans, but Zion barely played so far. So where are the threats in the West? I don't see them. And by the way, who did LeBron constantly son as a member of the what did we call them? The Raptors. What did you call them? The baby dinosaurs. Okay, there's another baby dinosaur. DeMar DeRozan got sunned by LeBron in every playoff series they ever played. He's now in the Western Conference trying to lead my Spurs. And what happened to Paul George, the guy that LeBron used to toy with in playoff series when he was the leader of the Pacers? He is now in the Western Conference. So all of a sudden I say, what's the big deal about what LeBron is doing with a co-MVP candidate in Anthony Davis in the West? He should be doing what he's doing, and it has nothing to do with conferences.
Skip makes great points. Look, the top of the West, outside of the two LA teams, the top of the East is as good as the top of the West. I mean, you got Milwaukee. Toronto is very legit. Philadelphia, even though they're the fifth, 60, we know how much talent they have. Miami, don't sleep on Miami. And of course, we know about Boston. So the East has gotten better. Here's the other thing. We all know. I think only a fool would try to say LeBron is not the Lakers' best player. Okay? We clearly know that. But if you look at their stats, Anthony Davis leads the Lakers in everything except assists. Everything. And so this MVP, look, LeBron's been great, but Giannis hasn't beat in the regular season or in the regular stats of points and rebounds, and he still gives you 6 assists a game. Field goal percentage. He's got him beat in the analytics stats. PER better than, it's the 7th best we've ever seen. His team has the best record in the league without the second superstar, to Skip's point, that LeBron has. And he might be Defensive Player of the Year. He's better on both ends. This is nothing against LeBron, but Giannis is clearly the MVP. This is the same formula, Skip, or Shannon, that LeBron had when he won it his first 2 years in Cleveland in 2009 and 2010. He had the best record in the league. They won 66 and 61 games, and he had no second star. So everybody's like, LeBron's doing
What you mean no second star? He had no star.
Mo Williams? Okay, Mo Williams made an all-star team, kind of like Chris Middleton makes all-star teams now because of their record. But that was the same formula that got LeBron a couple of MVPs. So now we're supposed to hold it against Giannis? Come on.
Man, Giannis, look, Giannis had an unbelievable season. But the thing is with LeBron, LeBron is not asked to rebound. He has Anthony Davis. He has Dwight. He has JaVale. Do I believe had LeBron been asked to give you double-digit rebounds this year? Yeah, I believe he could have done it. But I think what he needed was to facilitate. He needed to make sure Anthony Davis, look, AD, I'm getting you right because we're building this thing for the playoffs. Because I know what I'm going to get I know what I'm going to get from LeBron. I just need to make sure Anthony Davis knows this is the stage that he wanted. He signed with Rich Paul to get him to L.A. for these type games. Now, we finna show you what we bought, Chris. That's all right. You can have that award. You can have the regular season MVP, but I guarantee you we're going to be finals MVP. And then what?
You just guaranteed finals MVP?
Finals MVP.
Whew. Did we get that on tape? Yes.
Download the all-new Fox Sports app now.